Tesla just had their Q4 2021 earnings call, which wrapped up 2021 as a whole for them. They announced a number of broken records, the launch of their brand new Model Y, and detailed everything going on in regards to their upcoming products and timelines, so let's get into it. First up today, we already know that Tesla closed out the year breaking all previous delivery records. On January 2nd, they announced that 2021 closed out producing 24,390 Model S's and X's and delivering 24,964 of those. For Model 3 and Y, they produced 906,032 and delivered 911,207 for a grand total of 936,172 vehicles delivered. This broke the previous year's delivery record of 499,550 vehicles delivered by about 436,000, which is incredibly impressive. In any case, tons of stuff has been heavily delayed for Tesla, including some products they announced in 2017 and 2019, so we've been waiting for some time to hear what they are planning and when we'll see things like the Cybertruck, Roadster, $25,000 EV, and more. A few days before the earnings call, Tesla was spotted bringing in a new Cybertruck prototype, hinting that they would announce some details about that truck on their earnings call. We haven't seen production starting at Giga Texas for the Model Y or Cybertruck, so it is still a ways off, but we didn't know how long. In any case, this new prototype features some new things like a shorter front hood, larger windshield, large single windshield wiper, and the most notable change, an instrument cluster display. Tesla showed a yoke on the original prototype, so this additional screen makes sense to put it in line with the Model S and X. I made a video detailing those leaks, and you can check that out linked up here or in the description below, but yesterday some more new photos and details leaked. For one, a source that many feel is reliable said, quote, "I have learned firsthand that Tesla Cybertruck Gigapress is set to begin operations next month." Then Sawyer Merritt posted some new photos of the prototype inside the main Giga Texas factory, and they show some better, higher quality views of the truck without door handles and with an altered charge port. Up front, if you zoom in, you can see an active instrument cluster display as suspected, just the same as the Model S and X. Lastly, Elon tweeted saying, quote, "Been driving latest Cybertruck prototype around Giga Texas, it's awesome." Around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tesla released their official report document. Their summary starts out by saying 2021 was a breakthrough year for Tesla. There should no longer be doubt about the viability and profitability of electric vehicles. With our deliveries up 87% in 2021, we achieved the highest quarterly operating margin among all volume OEMs, based on the latest available data, demonstrating that EVs can be more profitable than combustion engine vehicles. For their focuses into the future, they mention full self-driving, but first say, after a successful 2021, our focus shifts to the future. We aim to increase our production as quickly as we can, not only through ramping production at new factories in Austin and Berlin, but also by maximizing output from our established factories in Fremont and Shanghai. We believe competitiveness in the EV market will be determined by the ability to add capacity across the supply chain and ramp production. For cash, they had an operating cash flow less capex of $2.8 billion in Q4, which in total is a $1.5 billion increase in our cash and cash equivalents in Q4 to $17.6 billion. Profitability was a $2.6 billion GAAP operating income with a 14.7% operating margin in Q4. And as we know, for operations, they had record vehicle deliveries of 0.94 million in 2021 and an annualized vehicle production run rate of over 1.22 million in Q4 of 2021, making it look really good for 2022. More details about new cars came on their vehicle capacity summary page, where they talked about their factories in the US, saying, quote, "Builds of Model Ys started in late 2021 at Gigafactory Texas. After final certification of Austin-made Model Y, we plan to start deliveries to customers. As a quick note here, they mentioned 2170 cells for Berlin, so it appears that these batteries for the Austin-made Model Ys will be 4680 cells. For Shanghai, they said production of both Model 3 and Model Y continued to ramp further throughout 2021. Local production is essential for reducing the cost per vehicle and improving the stability of the global supply chain. Gigafactory Shanghai continues to be our main export hub." Then for Berlin and their new Model Ys out of that factory, they say equipment testing throughout the vehicle production process started late 2021. We are still in the process of finalizing the manufacturing permit from local authorities, which will allow us to start delivering German-made vehicles in Europe. These first vehicles will be built using 2170 cells. Note that they mention 2170 cells here, but they don't mention 2170 cells for Austin, leading us to think those will be 4680s. The only mention in this report of the Cybertruck is that they say, quote, "We are making progress on the industrialization of Cybertruck, which is currently planned for Austin production subsequent Model Y." This is what it said last quarter as well. Tesla also shared a few photos of production at their Fremont factory, as well as Gigafactory Berlin and the graffiti that they have up there, the quality control process at Gigafactory Berlin, their body shop at Gigafactory Berlin as well, and their general assembly line there. For Giga Texas, they showed the exterior and showed the first line that we've seen of Model Ys being built there. This is general assembly, and then they showed the paint shop at Giga Texas, showing that they're actively working on Model Ys there. Here, they're attaching seats to a structural battery pack, which is definitely an indication that they're going with 4680 batteries and structural packs there. Then they showed Giga Shanghai from the exterior, as well as the interior and general assembly line there. And then the biggest image to me is the Tesla Semi image, which shows 4 Tesla Semi prototypes, or possibly production models in line. There was no mention of the Tesla Semi in this report aside from their installed annual capacity, saying to be determined for the Tesla Semi and that it is in development. On the call itself, Elon had a lot to say, and especially focused on full self-driving. First up, though, he talked about how 2021 was a breakthrough year for Tesla and how they got through many supply chain challenges. They had huge growth, which was a result of ingenuity across the company, and they achieved the highest operating margin in the industry in Q4. Their focus is on volume production as opposed to just making a bunch of new products that they can't actually get to customers. With that said, Elon mentioned they've been making quite a few cars at Berlin and Texas, which are both of their new factories, and he did officially confirm that the Texas-made Model Ys will be using structural battery packs and 4680 battery cells, and that it will likely be shipping this quarter. That is a huge deal for Tesla, since this is their own brand new battery technology that they announced at Battery Day, and it should bring a lot of improvements once it scales. For right now, they are producing those cars and they are waiting on their final certification, but they do plan to get 4680 battery cells and structural battery packs into Model Ys that are delivered to customers by the end of this quarter. Again, that is a big deal. I personally have a Model Y on order that says it will be delivered in July, so I'm very curious to see how Tesla will handle that whole situation, since their Texas factory will be making Model Ys with their new battery cells, and they confirmed that Berlin will not. It will be using their old cells, and seemingly Fremont will also use their old cells as well. This means that in the United States, there might be 2 different, slightly different Model Ys that you can choose from, and people who know about this and follow Tesla closely will know the difference, but many people might not know the difference, so it'll be very interesting to see how Tesla adjusts ranges or adjusts efficiency between those 2 models, since they will likely be quite different. Ultimately, they want the Texas factory to produce for the eastern half of the United States and the Fremont factory to produce for the western half, which should make everything cheaper in regards to shipping. But to start off with, that would mean that no one in California, where Tesla is originally based, could take delivery of a brand new 4680 battery cell Model Y, so that seems unlikely, and it seems like we will hear details about this coming soon. In regards to a new factory location, Elon said that they will be looking for new factory locations this year. So they don't have anything to announce yet, but he said hopefully by the end of 2022, they should have a factory location to announce, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets delayed at least a little bit. In 2021, supply chain was the limiting factor, particularly with chips. They said that battery supply was actually fine, and it will be fine in 2022, so the supply chain and chips in particular will be the constraint that they're facing. Overall, though, they emphasized that over time, full self-driving will become much more of a source of profitability for the company, as more and more customers are actually buying that package, and the features that they have promised are actually getting delivered to customers. Then came the product roadmap from Elon Musk, which disappointed in some ways, but also gave us realistic expectations. He talked in a broader sense here and said that he didn't want to talk about specific products that they have coming down the pipeline because they want to have proper product launch events for those products. That's very interesting to hear because it means there's something that Tesla has not shown us yet that they're actively working on. In any case, their focus this year is scaling output, so we will not be seeing any new vehicles from Tesla, at least new designs and vehicles coming out this year or getting announced this year, according to Elon Musk. If they were to announce a new vehicle either last year or this year, it would actually reduce the total number of vehicles that they could produce, and their focus is increasing output and making as many cars as they can with the current products that they sell. He said that they will continue working on their products like the Cybertruck, Semi, Roadster, and Optimus, so they will be engineering and tooling those products, and he hopes that production will happen next year on all of those products. We'll see about that, and I'm sure it will adjust for various products, but the Cybertruck will likely be a priority for them. Ultimately, though, it all depends on if they're going to have to make fewer vehicles as a result of launching a new vehicle, and that's really not something they're wanting to do right now. In any case, that does officially delay the Cybertruck to 2023, according to Elon Musk on this call. What he mentioned as being most important for them going forward, though, is Optimus, which is what they are calling their humanoid robot that they announced at Tesla's AI Day. He said that it has potential to be be more significant than their vehicle business over time. In regards to those 4680 battery cells that Tesla is now putting into the new Model Y, launching in Texas hopefully this quarter, Tesla said that 4680 battery cells are not a constraint in 2022, so they've probably stockpiled and made a lot of them, and they're making a lot of progress on their Giga Austin battery cell production line as well to make those battery cells. Ultimately, chips will be their constraint this year and into next year, and then in 2023 is when cell constraints are going to take over, and the 4680 battery program is really going to be most important for Tesla in order to make enough cells to make enough cars. Regarding their $25,000 EV that they talked about on Battery Day, Elon said that they are currently not working on it. Now, this doesn't mean that they are actually canceling that car, but it does mean that it is not coming anytime soon. They're not currently working on it and is definitely on the back burner for them. It's still a vision and a goal for them as part of their mission to make cheaper cars. And when they get their 4680 cells truly scaling next year or the year after, that will come into play for a cheaper vehicle. But right now, they are not working on it, which is definitely disappointing to hear. When asked if Tesla would work on their own HVAC system, they said it definitely aligns with their mission and that it's something they really want to work on in the future. So that might be one of those product unveils that we get sometime this year or next year. When asked about their Dojo computer, which they also talked about at Tesla's AI Day event, they said that it should still be coming online summer of this year, and it's not required to achieve full self-driving, but it will definitely help out. Regarding their Tesla bot, again, Elon called it Optimus, and then he called it Optimus Subprime as their internal name for that robot. He said that they will first use it internally for things like moving parts around their factories to see that it actually works, because if it's not something they can utilize, why would it be something that anyone else would want to utilize? Lastly, Elon was super focused on full self-driving on this call. On all of these points, he kept coming back to full self-driving and how important it is. He ended up saying that everything pales in comparison to the value of the robotaxi and full self-driving, and that he would be shocked if they don't achieve full autonomy this year. That's all very exciting to hear, but I have a slight feeling that Elon might be shocked at the end of this year. It has been many years that he has said they will achieve full self-driving this year, and it has not happened. I'm always rooting for them there, but I'm just trying to be realistic based on what we're seeing. So this earnings call was both incredibly exciting and disappointing. On the exciting front, they delivered more cars than they ever have and were very profitable. They're also launching their new Model Y out of Giga Texas, so this quarter we should be seeing that brand new Model Y with all of its improvements and all the improvements that come with the structural battery pack, as well as the 4680 battery cells, come online and get delivered to customers. It does leave a lot of questions open there as well, like how they're going to handle that launch and actually letting customers choose or not between which vehicle they are getting. We do know that it is indicated if it was made in Austin or Fremont in the VIN. Those Tesla battery cells are a big deal for them going forward, so that launching in a vehicle is incredibly exciting. On the disappointing side is that the Cybertruck is probably coming next year, probably delayed to next year, and it is definitely not their focus right now. Their focus is on scaling up the current cars that they make. Also disappointing is that all of their other products are probably scheduled for next year or later, and that the $25,000 EV is something they're not currently working on. Somewhere possibly in between, depending on how you feel about it, is the Tesla bot and how much Tesla is actually focused on that robot going forward. They think it's going to be incredibly important for them as a company. Then something that possibly fits into both categories is full self-driving. It's very exciting that Elon Musk thinks they'll be achieving it this year and that he'll be shocked if they don't achieve it this year, but it's also possibly disappointing to hear Elon repeating the same thing that he says on almost every earnings call, with not a ton of progress being seen by the average customer who isn't a beta tester. The overall theme of this earnings call was that Tesla is focused on growing. They are growing their current products as fast as they can and seeing how much they can get output and seeing how much more they can make their vehicles profitable over time. I'm very excited to see how those new Model Ys out of Giga Austin perform, and if they perform basically the same as 2170 cells for now, or if we see a massive difference. I would hope for some kind of range increase, but it's possible that they just put less battery cells in there to match the current range. In any case, efficiency would likely be different, so it'll be very interesting to see there. I'm a little disappointed about the Cybertruck, but I'm still excited that they're still working on it. But what are your thoughts on all of this? Are you very disappointed that Tesla is delaying all of these products and you feel like they'll never come? Or are you excited that they're growing so much, even just with the cars that they have, which is only 4 right now? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, if you want to see the latest for the Cybertruck, which had a bunch of leaks earlier this week, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.